Good day, good day. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Jay, and this is Homeschool Yo Kids podcast. Before we get started, big shout out to a couple of our sponsors who are mission to ensure that you do not homeschool alone. So, major shout outs to Classical Conversations, who is a curriculum provider and also community provider all across the nation. So, check them out. And also Basecamp. Basecamp is a new app that is mission to ensure that you have community in your area, or at least they are able to find the community in your area. So check them out. It's a free download, Basecamp. And today we have with us Antoine. Antoine, introduce yourself.
My name is Antoine Khoury. I am a married person. I have 4 kids, and I have been teaching French and other second languages, but mainly French, for over 45 years. I started at the University of Windsor. While I was doing my MA, I was assigned a literature course to teach. I had never taught before. I did very well. Then I continued to do my PhD, but I did not finish it. I got married instead. And I traveled to Europe, to Middle East, and South America, where I got married, and came back to Canada in 1985.
Oh, wow.
I have been again in Canada for 4 years. I went to teacher college in Ontario. I got my teaching diploma. Then, while continuing to teach at the university part-time in the evening and college, I got a teaching job, and I taught for 22 years FSL, which stands for French as Second Language, in one school. I started in 1986 and retired in 2008. After retirement, I became full-time at the University of Windsor, but continued to teach at colleges. College St. Clair in Windsor, Collège Boréal, which is a French college, and also I taught at Oakland College in Michigan, in US. I also started to create videos for homeschooling communities, but I was published by a Montreal company in 2001. It published a series of dialogue. This is how I teach the language. I write dialogue to engage the students, so the students will imitate the characters in the dialogue, where there's lots of humor. When they imitate the dialogue, they become engaged. There is no more teacher teaching. The characters are teaching them with activities, and my publications are used in many schools. In 2002, I published my first children's story, The Clever Cat, and also the French version, Le Chat Génial, with activity booklet for grade 4. The mother was pregnant on the cover. The baby became the main character in the sequel, The Guest of Honors. And this story is about the pets. A child, 8 years old, wanted to purchase or to own, to have a pet, but his parents did not want to. They were afraid of, just they're not used to it. Finally, he convinced his parents. Then after, I wrote another story. It's called Yes, Your Honor, about a female judge who becomes a crossing guard, and she became a spokesperson for child safety, with also activity booklet. Then I wrote another story, Les Garçons Cochons, in French, all in French, and they are on video, on DVDs. Also, I wrote 3 stories in French, English, and Arabic the adult's garden for 4 to 6 years old. But I continued to publish articles, text, and in 2008, I started to deal with homeschooling parents. I
Mm.
used to teach a group of kids 1 hour a week, but each child will get 10 minutes. I divided the group in six. Each child will get 10 minutes, and the rest of the children will listen and learn. After 10 weeks, I had children 4 and 5 and 6 years old able to speak French fluently, read in French in public, aloud, and with the help of the parents, they learn to read in English because my product, Jay, is in French and in English. I write the dialogue in French, but the parents are able to read the dialogue and the short story in English, so they know already what they are going to read about. There will be no pressure to Google. They know what it is. And it's basically simple vocabulary, sometimes more advanced. It depends on the level. And I was told by some parents, as the testimonial attest and showed, that their kids, it's amazing how in 2 weeks, with 5 to 10 minutes a day, their kids were able to speak French fluently. They had never had French before. And this actually happened 2 weeks ago, working with a family from Ottawa and also one high school student from Wales in England. I don't know how you got to me. So I started to work with homeschooling. And during COVID, when everything was closed, many teachers had never taught online before. I had a group of about 1,500 teachers from Canada and United States, helping them, providing them with videos that I created to do it with their students at home. Then during COVID, I came up with the idea of relieving the parents, homeschooling parents, of the responsibility of teaching French or of using textbook they don't understand. Because to be honest with you, Jay, at schools, the majority of schools, universities, and college, we start with the written part. We take notes. We memorize the grammar rules. We write tests. We got excellent marks on the test. But when it comes to use the language, we feel intimidated. Why? Because we were never given the chance to speak the language. In my case, that's not the case. I tell the parents, the emphasis in my courses is on speaking the language. As we say it, we learn a language to speak it. And if we learn a vocabulary and we don't use it, we will lose it.
Very quickly.
Imagine someone with a BA diploma from college or university with 90 in French, A plus, but he or she cannot speak the language. What I mean by cannot speak, you ask him a question, but they say to me, sir, I am not confident enough. I said, no, that's not confidence. In my view, Jay, I said before FSL, French as second language. In my view, in my dictionary, FSL stands for fluency, leads to self-confidence, and self-confidence leads to learning. It's very simple. I give an example always to parents. Who would you trust more? Your grandpa, who hasn't driven in 15 years, but he has a driver license. Or your sister or your brother who is 16 years old but has been driving with the parents, with adult, for 3 years, and he or she can control the steering wheel perfectly. With whom would you trust to go downtown during the rush hours? Your grandpa is going to open the door for someone to hit him, or he's going to hit the tree. Your sister, she controlled the steering wheel. In my view, your sister masters the vocabulary. She applies the grammar rule without knowing it. Your grandpa knows the grammar theories and rules, but cannot apply them because he doesn't have enough vocabulary. In your grandpa's case, he hasn't driven on the street for 15 years. He forgot. He becomes nervous, less confident. Why? Because he hasn't driven. The same thing. When we don't speak the language, we become less confident because we are less fluent. So I built my philosophy on one word, SKURT, SKURT. It has nothing to do with SKIRT. Because I was asked this question, Professor Khoury, the title of your presentation is SKURT. Don't you think it is a bit anti-feminist? I said, no. My SKURT is SKURT. It has nothing to do with SKI. They said, what does it stand for? You have to wait for my presentation and see what it is. Perfect. I was supposed to have 17 participants attendant in my seminars. I had all the 67. The presenters, the managers, other teachers, because they wanted to know what it's all about. I said to them, SKURT stands for, the first letter is say the word, which means repeat after someone who speaks the language fluently, which means repeat after the video. Say the word. Know what it means. Because usually, Jay, when you learn a second language, when I learn a second language outside, we learn swearing words, not good words.
That's the first thing you want to know.
That's right. So you want to know what it means. Say the word,
essential.
Know what it means, and use it right away. So if you say good evening or good morning or how are you, you understand? Ask the person next to you. Practice it. Use it. Live the language. It's like you're eating a cake. You taste it. Because you know how to say it correctly, you know what it means and how to use it. You are doing two things at the same time. You are saying the word, speaking the language, and reading it because it's on the video. And the example I give is why children 3 years old and up recognize McDonald's faster than Swiss Chalet or some other names. Because they see it more often. They use it more often. They go there more often. So it is a habit. It's repetition. What is the difference between practice and repetition? It's precisely the same thing. We say practice in music, but when we practice, we are repeating the notes, how to play it. I started to create, and I created over 300 videos. Because each course that I have on my website, that now streaming French lessons, has at least between 40 and 60 videos. Every lesson, Jay, is made up of one video dialogue in French, then the English version of the text, so they know what it means. Then there is a series of questions based on the dialogue, because right away I want the child, the learner, the adult to respond to question based on the text. They press the video, they hear the question, they stop it, they give the question, then after they hear me say the answer. So they know already, either they blew it or they did well. They go back. If they didn't do it, the right way, they go back to the video and learn again. Then there are activities, grammar activities and vocabulary. And in the correction, I comment. I teach the rules, the grammar, the vocabulary, and I put emphasis on the difference between English and the French, not in the language. Many students who learn French are influenced by the English word because we have so many words. They look the same, homonym, but they don't mean the same. French and English, French and Spanish, and other things. So I say to them, that's how we say it in French. That's how we say it in English. And as you know, from my experience, many students, they don't learn the English grammar. They think they know it, which is not the case.
Yeah.
And I repeat, like, a saying, not every person who speaks a language well can teach it.
Oh,
Sometimes
definitely.
you don't know. You understand what I mean? You don't know if someone asks you, is this verb transitive or intransitive? Say, what? What does this mean? But they are using it without knowing it.
Yeah.
So I stress this in the activities. And there is also individual reading where the child or the learner will read with me. I read the part of one character and he or she read the part of another. They have to read at my speed and the pace. If they cannot do it, they have to go and practice. And I have been doing this now for almost 18 years.
Nice.
And I started a series of animation, the dialogue for JK, which here in Canada, JK, they start school at 4 years old.
Okay.
I believe in US, they start when they are 5 years old.
It's all different ages.
All different, it depends, exactly.
But it's ranged from 5 to 8.
5 to 8, that's right.
Yeah, Washington kids don't have to start till 8. Like,
in Canada, we start when they are 4 years old. If they are 4 by the end of the year, let's say you could start in September, but you will not be 4 years old until the end of December. So you will be 4 months before you complete, like the age of 4, starting school. And this is the challenge, because when we want to speak a language or teach it to our child, we should start at a very early age. That's how your child know how to say mom when they start saying it 1 and 2 years old. They don't wait until 4. This is exactly the same thing. Another thing too, I do a lot of presentation. I did one symposium, took part in one symposium to how to Montessori schools on like a podcast like now, but it was symposium. I said to them, the best tutor for a child to learn a second language is the parent. Because the parent knows the child, knows when to teach him, when to put the pressure on them, when to help them, etc. So for parent, it's very easy to learn the language. My videos provide the parent with the opportunity to learn with their kids.
nice.
How many times we say, read to your child? That's true, it's great, read to your child. Also, read with your child, if you got the chance. But I believe, in my opinion, let your child read to you is the ultimate goal of every parent. When a child 4 years old or 5 read a text in English or French or Spanish or Mandarin aloud, without fear, in public, that's how we prepare the future speakers and readers in our world.
Indeed.
I also teach Arabic. As you know, Arabic is formal and informal. Many Arabic speaking people learn the informal because we don't use the formal Arabic in everyday conversation. So when you learn the informal and you go to learn formal, you will have no clue. It happens in English sometimes, like if you say to somebody, I don't know. You don't pronounce, you pronounce it, it depends on the dialect or the country. How are you going to write it if you don't see it? Learn the word, then pronounce it the way you want according to your dialect. But know how it is written first. Besides, when you hear parents say, or teachers, my students cannot write. How can they write if they don't read?
Mm,
We need to read. We don't invent the words. The words have already been invented. What we do, we put them in different order. We color them, we change them, we mix them, to have impact on the reader's understanding. But we need to read first. We need to read well-written text. Learn from them. If we read a story, we need to give like book report. What did we read? What did we like about it? Why? That's how we practice the language verbally before we write an essay or test. We need to say it verbally. Say the word, know what it means, use it, read it, then the last letter, the T, trace it, or type it, or write it. But I didn't put W because it's very hard to pronounce the word. SKR, like, SKURW. So that's really what I had been doing and working with parents, Montessori schools, regular schools, adult. Also, I have created some courses for high school students who are going into university to take French or college. You have so many students in high school, grade 12, who like to take languages. But when they come from high school, they come with high average, 90, 95, but they have no clue about the content of the university course. I see that here in Canada where I teach, but also I saw it in Michigan, because just they don't know. They say, we did not cover this. There is no, how to say it, like joint or between the two group, between the level, high school level and university level. There should be synchronization, for example. What do we do? Okay, for example, if we study the present tense in high school, we do it at university, but we do it with more depth. You learn the exceptions. For example, if you give an example in English, if you say, I'm going to pay a visit to my friends. How can you use a pay a visit in this sentence? You don't pay, you're not paying money. To pay has a real meaning, but also it has figurative meaning. You understand? That's how I put those courses, and there is one already, it says, from grade 10 to university, transitional course that will prepare the students in grade 12 about what they are going to see and learn at university in depth. I write, stories, everything. I teach, I tutor, and now I am retired at my age, I try to fill my time.
Indeed, you're doing a lot. You have done a lot. You are doing and have done a lot. And it's so needed because learning a second language is difficult from my own personal experience. But how you're saying it and how you're laying it out, it's like, okay, well, maybe if I just try it that way. And in a sense, it's like immersion because you learn to speak it and use it daily as
That's right.
opposed to waiting until you do have the class. And that's what I think mine, because I did Spanish in high school, and I did Spanish a couple semesters of college, because I didn't complete my high school requirement.
That's right.
But I don't know it. Like Antoine, I don't have any of it with me anymore.
Because you didn't use it.
Exactly.
And
And
the
because of
teachers,
the grammar thing, yes.
that's
Because
right.
of Oh my.
Let me tell you one thing, Jade. Why you don't use it? They don't use it in the classroom. In my view, to be a successful educator. In fact, it applies to every profession. But let us take teaching second languages. To be a successful second language teacher, instructor, professor, whatever it is, we need three important things, three important elements. Qualification. We have to learn the grammar, the vocabulary,
Mm-hmm.
so we can teach it. We need a methodology, how to communicate the message. How many times you go to college to take courses or university and you fall asleep in the lecture because the professor is following the same note that he or she
Yes.
prepared 20 years ago. We need to engage. How can we engage? We engage when we become students, children, so often. What did Jesus say? If you don't become a child again, you will not be able to enter the kingdom of God. How do we become
Mm-hmm.
children? We behave like them so we can engage them. We cry when they cry. We laugh when we laugh. So we need to have a sense of humor. Many educators cannot make it. Either they cannot or out of arrogance. I do not want to become student. I am university professor with tenure and 3 PhD. You could have 10 PhD, and when you give your message, nobody's going to laugh. That's why when you tell a funny story, a joke, some people tell it in a way that makes people laugh, but
Mm-hmm.
others they cannot. So we need qualification, methodology, and experience.
Indeed.
No one by itself is enough. The experience, Jay, allow us to make mistake, to
Mm-hmm.
learn from them, to try something. If it doesn't work, we do it again. That's what my videos are. I write the dialogue, the video I share it with my student, and I listen to them. Which word is difficult to pronounce? I replace it. That's the experience. The experience is not how many years you have been teaching. No. You could teach for 1 year, but after every lesson, you ask yourself many questions. What did I do the right way in this lesson? Why I did not do the right way? How can I improve it? How can I challenge myself? We have to challenge ourselves so we can challenge our students. If we don't challenge
Indeed.
them, how can you say excellent always? If your son is taking baseball and he hit ball and say, okay, only first base, excellent. What would happen if he hit or she hits home run? There's no more word to use. So we need to be,
Mm-hmm.
to put the pressure and challenge the kids in a way that we want their best to reach their potential. So teaching the second language is very difficult. We need a
Yes.
vocabulary. You don't teach your child grammar when he or she is 5 or 6 years old. No, you teach them how to say the word properly, how to say the sentence correctly. That's you are learning, teaching them in a way, but indirectly through vocabulary. My belief is if you speak Spanish correctly, or French, or English properly, you are applying the grammar rules without knowing it. You
Mm-hmm.
want to feel the language. You want to be proud of yourself that yes, you can speak it. But we have in Canada, and I believe the same thing in state, in French immersion and French school, where students speak French fast, but they make a lot of mistakes and they don't know where the mistakes are. Jade,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know where your mistakes are and learn how to correct
Correct
them,
them.
you are
Yeah.
going to make them again. And you think that we are perfect. We're making the same mistake over and over again. We should teach the kids to see where their mistakes are, how to correct them. Then they become able to avoid making those mistakes in the future. As we say, the best teacher is the person who prepare his or her students to do without them. Not
Yeah.
after 10 years. No, after a short period of time. So what did
Right.
I do with my video lessons? No tutor. The tutor is in the video. What they do,
Mm,
they listen for 5 to 10 minutes a day and they practice. Of course, I offer service like assessment, but once every 2 weeks, 30 minutes, or 1 month. So it doesn't cost them a lot. They have the video. Besides, if you go to the tutor, you will have, to do your work also. I don't, when I tutor somebody, I don't correct written work because it takes too much time. I correct it at home and I go over the mistakes with the students. Many parents find my courses very interesting, very helpful, but challenging. Some they find
mm.
it difficult because, for example, they say to me, but you didn't teach them the alphabet. How can the alphabet help you speak the language? Okay, if you know A, B, C, D, E, what about how are you going to put it together? You're not going to
Honestly,
say
yeah, it's not the sound of
absolutely.
it.
But
Yeah.
when you learn in English or in Spanish or in French saying, I am going home, je vais à la maison, me voy a la casa, not a ma casa, etc. Like as we say, you're learning the words in
Mhm.
sentences. What's wrong with it if you learn or you teach kids complete sentences right from the scratch? You're not teaching
Mhm.
them. They are repeating after the characters.
Mhm. How do you feel about Duolingo? Have you
Duolingo is good, but they don't teach him conversation. They teach him
okay.
only some word. For
Vocabulary. Yeah,
example,
they
absolutely.
yeah.
I have a story, and there's a book. It's called "Do You Speak French?" in French. That's for the course for high school, university, based on this text. Then there's the Arabic also version, the same thing. Do you speak Arabic? It's the same thing, the same character. You will see it on my website. But you have, when you teach that, the vocabulary, you have to say it. Some care about the accent. But why you want to worry about the accent before you learn the vocabulary? Learn how to say it first, then you learn the accent. It's like I say to them, you worry about the dressing on the salad. But can you eat the dressing by itself or drink it without salad?
Great
No.
analogy.
But you could eat your salad without dressing if you don't have dressing.
Yes.
Salad is the vocabulary and the grammar. Dressing is the accent, the style. Some would say, I want to learn the French, the Parisian accent. Before you go to Paris, learn few words so you could apply the Parisian accent. Now, to learn, you have to be patient. You have to be humble, patient, and take your time and use it. That's why learning a second language is very difficult. You have to start the methodology to create it, speak it. If you have enough vocabulary, you will be able to get along. If you don't, you will go to English or to French or to another language. To be honest with you, when you hear people speaking Spanish but going back forth from Spanish to English, English to Spanish, and they say, oh, he or she is fluent. They speak two languages fluently. No. If they know enough words in Spanish, they don't need to use the English version. To be honest with you, why you want to go to say English, mix it, if you know already enough word in Spanish or in French? It's very difficult, very demanding on the part of teachers. And yeah, they have to evolve.
Mhm. Is English your first language?
No, my first language was French and Arabic
Okay.
because we
Okay.
learn in Lebanon, we learn three languages right from the start.
Okay.
I did my education in Lebanon. I came to Canada 55 years ago. Seems like
Oh,
yesterday. And I
nice.
started to learn I get my specialty in French, and I studied
Mm,
other languages. I studied Spanish. I speak Spanish. I have a few texts in Spanish. As I said to you, I got married in Venezuela. So I speak
mm,
Spanish, Arabic, French, English, I took German.
Mhm.
But the German course, when I was doing my PhD, was the reason behind my creation of video lessons. Because I spent the 3 months, not only me, the other students also. We got A as final mark. But all I remember from my German, ich bin krank. I am sick because we never spoke the language.
You know which one I remember? I did German in eighth grade. I remember Ich weiß nicht. I don't
See,
know.
because you didn't speak it.
No, and look that, but if we said that during the oral quiz, if we said Ich weiß nicht the whole time, you would get a C. And so that's the only thing I remember because I did enough to get a C.
That's right. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yes. Oh,
But
Auf
like,
Wiedersehen. I know Auf Wiedersehen.
yes, right. It is very difficult. It's very demanding.
Yes.
Also, they have to do it constantly every day.
Mm.
Some would, oh, I did on Sunday 3 hours. That's not enough. If you do every day 10 minutes is better than doing 3 hours on Sunday. How can you force yourself, Jay, to remember my name when you see me? After I leave you, 2 minutes, oh, his name is Antoine. You couldn't remember it. You cannot force your memory to know something. Now, the more you do it, the easier you remember. Why? Because you're using it. It becomes natural
Yes.
to
Use
learn
it
a
or
second
lose it.
language.
Use
That's
it
right.
or
Use
lose
it
it.
or lose it. That's very simple. That's why many immigrants, when they come, they forget their language because they don't speak it. Or
Mhm.
they only speak their language, but they don't speak the language of the country where they are. In my
Yes.
view, immersion is when you are able to master both languages.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. If they say there is immersion in state at that school, Spanish and English, I
Hmm.
believe many parents, if they know, if they are already, like if they are guided, is they will say, I want my child to learn how to speak Spanish, not to learn math and science in Spanish. Do you understand me?
Hmm.
Because to do math and science in Spanish, you must master the Spanish language completely. Otherwise, how are you going to understand the math theories and the science and write, etc.?
Indeed.
The
Well,
language,
there's a lot of those immersion schools all
of
over
course,
now. I know we have
Spanish
one at the
everywhere.
Washington. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Spanish Ideal School. They do this. I want to say he said they do 2 weeks in English and 2 weeks in Spanish. So the first 2 weeks will be all completely English, and then the next 2 weeks will be everything will be in Spanish. So they
Why
would
they would
learn.
why they would wait 2 weeks? Why not do
I'm
half and a half?
half and half. I
Or
don't
or
know.
or okay, for example, if they live in Washington,
Hmm.
the official language of the country is English, correct?
Yes.
Unless the parents want their kids to do their higher education in Spanish. But if they want them to learn the language, teach them the language. Some would say, yeah, but you cannot learn a language or teach it unless you do the culture. I go back to the dressing and the salad. Before the
Hmm.
culture, learn the language. If you learn how to speak French, you will try to learn and love the French culture. But if you make mistake and you don't succeed and you cannot speak it, you will forget about the language and the culture.
Indeed. Indeed.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
because how can you learn? Now, if you want to learn about the French culture or the English culture, American culture, or Canadian or Spanish, do you have to speak the language? No.
No.
Go on the internet and you learn about it. Do you have to be Italian to prepare a good pizza?
No.
Do you have to speak Greek to know how to roll the gyros?
No.
No. What does it have to, or to prepare tabbouleh in Arabic, you have to speak Arabic? What does it have to do with it? Tabbouleh is not made up of words. It's made up of, tomatoes and other ingredient. So don't mix these things at the beginning. What I'm saying at the beginning, when you start to learn the language at first, learn the language. Leave the culture apart.
Yeah.
Once you know the language, then you could read about the culture in this language.
Nice. I feel like your methods, I mean, you have proven results, so I'm not going to debate you. I feel like you're sounding real good right now. I feel like I
You
can
read the
go and learn a
testimonial,
language.
right?
Yes, you have a lot of testimonials on your page. Yes.
I mean, you have to, beside not only engage, you must be enthusiastic about the subject you are teaching. Enthusiasm is contagious.
Indeed.
When I taught my first course in 1976, way before you were born, Jay,
And no, I wasn't here yet.
1976,
Yes.
I was told by my professor, Antoine, you are going to teach a literature course about 17th century classicism. I said, Professor, I have never taught in my life. He said to me, if you teach your course the way you prepare your seminars and presentation in class, happy will be your student. I taught the
Mm,
course, I got A plus as evaluation.
nice.
I had 35 students. They wrote in their comment, Sir, I wasn't going to be measured in French. Because I took this literature course with you, I wanted to become major in French. You teach the language like a river. The word, just you know it by heart. I never teach with notes. Comes out of my brain, just like this. Flows like a river. But I know
Mm,
my product. I know my material.
mhm.
And this comes with hard work. Lots of reading, preparation. So we learn, as we go. We learn every single day. No one is perfect. Why would you prepare notes and use them for 20 years? You're teaching different students. Like if you're a teacher and you're teaching grade 5, but next year grade 5 will have probably different kids, different way of learning. You cannot use the same note. You cannot use the same text. You have to change something. Why kids at school, when you have 20 kids or 30 kids, you have more than half left behind. Why? Because they cannot catch up. And the teacher does
Mm,
not have the mean, the tool, the time to prepare them. Therefore, homeschooling in itself is ideal if the parents are disciplined and take their time and they are patient.
yes.
You're teaching one or two or three child. Do they have to do 6 hours like regular school? No. You
Mm,
could do one language art lesson in 20 minutes instead of 1 hour. If it is done, move on to different topic. Let them read. Let them relax. Enjoy it. How many teachers they say I'm looking forward to teaching tomorrow, the next day, or the next week, or the next year? Why? But they are exhausted.
mhm.
They are burned out. They
Very
are
much so.
pressure. They
Yes.
are teachers, police officers, social workers, parents, administrators. That's too much. What is it you're going to do? But homeschooling, only small numbers. And if the parents is well prepared, they would excel. I read one post on Facebook yesterday about 17 or 18 years old girl. She's homeschooled, and the
Mm,
mother is saying she was accepted into a summer camp at Harvard.
mm,
At this age, I wrote comment on it, and I said yes, it is possible. I wrote like several, text seminars
mhm.
about homeschooling. Can homeschooling student excel in a second language or in French, such as French? I said, of course they can. And in many cases, if they are provided with the right material, methodology, and teaching, they can excel. So my
Mhm.
videos have a tutor in them. When you turn the video on, the tutor is talking to you. If you do it 10 minutes a day, 15, 20 minutes, you know one dialogue. 3 weeks ago, I had a family from Ottawa contacted me. The mother wanted me to tutor her daughter. She was in French immersion school, but she's homeschooled now because just they pulled her from school. When I told her what I do for her daughter, right away she said to me, I have two other kids, one in grade 4, one in grade 1. I said, but did they have French before? She said, never. They have never had a French before. I said, okay. They purchased my course, the streaming. After 2 weeks, I had a review assessment for them, free. Just I wanted to see my students, how they are doing. I don't charge them like at first. I want to see how the kids are progressing. Is it difficult for them? My resources? I was blown up. The grade 4 was able to speak French, use the vocabulary in the dialogue, and respond to questions, to interviews, and read in 2 weeks. I said to the mother, how much time did he spend? She said to me, every day, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Nice.
So it is doable.
Mhm.
Some would say, now you asked me about Duolingo. They don't have structured lesson in Duolingo or even Rosetta Stone. They have
Mhm.
general vocabulary. But
Vocabulary,
Jay,
yeah.
who's going to put them together?
I know, right?
It's like box of Lego. Make your own castle. How can the child know how to do it? But if the child sees someone building the
Mhm.
castle, they learn faster. Then they could use their creativity. You learn how to speak, you learn how to teach, but you grow yourself and you become better teacher than your teacher. Why? You
Indeed.
become innovative. You challenge yourself. That's what, learning second language and teaching. Some parent, they don't choose it because it's very difficult. But my courses replace the parents. All they need to do is make sure their child is doing the French lesson every day, 5 to 10 minutes a day.
Nice. 5 to 10 minutes makes all the difference. And to just continue the repetition, like you said, the more
That's
they
so.
do it.
Exactly.
Yes. I
Now, when
love
they talk
that.
about phonic, phonic, but the video are phonic. Instead of
Hmm.
saying book, it's going to take time, but say it. This is my book. When you say it five,
Hmm.
6 times, 10 times, you are going to be able to identify the word and learn the word in context, in sentence.
Antoine, I appreciate your passion. Like I appreciate like you are really passionate about teaching these second languages.
That's right. Yes, that's what they say to me. At this age, I am passionate because when you get a message, you want to communicate it. You want to
Indeed.
make others feel like you, passionate about, the
Yes.
about the language or the subject
Yes.
that you teach, whatever the subject is.
Indeed. But with the language, it's just so many like, insecurities that come, like you said, you worry about the accent, you
That's
worry
right.
about the
Absolutely.
culture, you
That's
worry about,
exactly.
like you just worried about so much.
You know why adults learn when they learn the second language they have much more difficulty than kids because they ask
Why?
too many questions. They
Mm.
analyze everything. You understand? Let me ask you a
Okay.
question, Jake. If you are going to take an Arabic class tonight, you're enrolled in an Arabic class, what would you take with you to that class? Tell me the truth, honestly.
Um, I would probably just take a notebook and a pen
For what? To take
to
notes?
write,
You
yeah,
don't
to
speak the
say,
language.
I
Why
know,
you want to
right?
take
I
note
know. What am
if
I
you
going to
cannot
take
read
notes
it?
for?
You understand? But adults think that if they take note, the note protects them.
I
They are
know.
protected. But you ask them, you know what happened? Many teachers buy my product or parents, and I ask them, did you? try this text or this video? Monsieur, I haven't had a chance. I said, if you haven't had a chance in 6 months, when you going to have a chance? They pay for it and they put on the shelf. They feel protected. You understand me? But aren't they laughing at themselves? They say to me, you are absolutely right. Why you want to take note and take time from your listening to your teacher
Yeah.
in Arabic? That's what I did during that presentation. I said one word. I said, marhaba. They did say it. I said, no, better. Ha, not marhaba, ha. They did say it. I said to them, how many would go outside and say this word to every person? They said, but what does it mean? You know?
Right. First, like,
Exactly. So you have to do, adults have more difficulty because they don't, they cannot take it as it is. They want to analyze the grammar. How come? Don't ask how come in grammar. That's the way it is. Could you tell me, Jay, why in English we say he eats and we add s, not I eat with s? That's the way it is.
I know it sounds better.
They agreed upon like confidence rules, theories, and that's the way it is. Take it as it is. Don't
Mm.
try to analyze it. Don't say why in grammar. That's the rule. Apply it. Would you say, police officer, why did you give me ticket? Why do I have to stop at the fourth stop sign? That's the way it is. You know, that's exactly what it is. That's why adults. So they have to become children again and
Yeah.
learn. Be,
Yeah.
as I said, be humble. You cannot become perfect. You do your best. You are going to make
Indeed.
mistake. If we don't make mistake, we never learn.
Yes. I've appreciated all of these analogies. Great. You have great analogies. The salad and the dressing, that was beautiful. Beautiful. I have two questions before I
Yes.
let you go. One, with all this passion that you're pouring out and all this wisdom that you continue to share, even post retirement, how do you take care of yourself? How do you self care? Because you are like the years that you listed. I know you up there with the number, but you are still agile and just as vibrant. Like, how do we take care
I
of
wake
things?
up 5 o'clock. I
Okay.
ride on my bike inside or outside if the weather is nice, 15 kilometer a day.
Mm,
I swim. Yesterday I was swimming in our pool. I walk and imagination. Look, I wrote the story about the clever cat, correct? About the
mm-hmm.
cat, a child who wanted to adopt a cat. We have never had a pet in our home. When they used to invite me to school to read to them, they asked me the question, the kids, the first question, how many pets do you have? Or how many cats? I said, I don't have a cat. So how did you learn to write story like this about cats? I said, you use your imagination. You
Mm,
observe people. You learn from life. Life is a school.
yes.
When you see people, you learn from them. You imagine. Does it have to be true? No.
Mhm.
That's why it's fiction. Don't take it personal. I say
Yeah.
to teachers, to students, do whatever you want to do. Do it seriously. But don't ever take anything you do seriously. You do your best.
Yes.
Be serious when you do it. But don't take it seriously because you are going to make mistake. You know,
Hmm.
when I used to teach FSL and go to each university and college in the evening, one professor, philosophy professor, used to wait for my class to finish to take my classroom. He said to me, Professor Khoury, you teach French here. I understand it. But the other class, you teach it Arabic. How do you go from one room to one room at university level and teach Arabic? I said to him, you know, they're saying in French, changer de vitesse, change gears. You know, when you drive stick
Hmm.
shift, you change gear. You give each person what he or she can handle. Each language, you give it what you can. And I said, that's not the whole story. The whole story said, what's left? I said, I am a full time elementary teacher. I teach French from JK, 4 years old, to grade 8. My principal said to me, after the first year, I taught 6, 7, 6, 7, 8 French. while teaching university. He said to me, Antoine, you are going to teach JK. JK, that's 4 years old. I said, Mr. Antea, I have never taught at this level. He said, do you have kids? I said, yes. I have one is 4 and one is 2. He said, you're going to teach it. I taught JK for 8 years. And
Oh,
you know,
wow.
the best class and level to teach is JK, SK. Whatever you do, they take it. Like
Mm-hmm.
sponge. They don't ask a question. I used to teach JK in the morning and SK and go teach university. What I do in JK songs, I would do it at university. I say, repeat after me. In order to pronounce the word correctly, repeat that rhyme, that song.
Mm-hmm.
Laugh. Jay, you have to learn how to laugh at yourself. Use your
Yes.
sense of humor. As I say, the last sentence probably from me, humor is the salt of success in life.
Humor
Some
is
don't
the
like salt, but some don't have a humor.
right. Yes, a lot of salt.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay, well, that brings me to, could you say your last sentence? Three things. If our listeners didn't hear anything else during this whole conversation, what are three things you want them to walk away with?
You mean walk away from that conversation?
Walk away from this conversation with.
From conversation is
Mhm.
to be able to reach homeschooling parents and the parents whose kids are in regular school that the speaking of the language is the most important part in learning a second language. If you don't speak it and live it and feel it and taste it, you don't become proud of speaking it. That's speaking the language. The second one is to be humble and help others. Help kids. I tell parents, they send me messages. One parent said to me, Professor Khoury, you spent almost 4 hours with us in 1 week. I said, you know something? You got something out of that. And I'm happy because I want you to say, this person is honest. He tells me exactly what I need to do.
Yeah.
That's helping others. And the third one, feel satisfaction with others. Feel that satisfaction to hear a child. I love to hear 5 and 6 and 7 years old read eloquently. How many times, Jay, you ask students at university level to speak, to read publicly? They're afraid to. And they say to
Mhm.
me, Monsieur, I have never had the chance to read in the lower grade.
Mhm.
You
That is
know,
a thing. Yes. Yes, sir. I taught
because
English, so.
absolutely, and the parents should tell their kids, read it aloud. I cannot
Mhm.
hear you. Sing it. Speak. Do what you can. Live it. Be happy. And remember, no one is perfect.
Thank you, Antoine. Thank you,
Thank you
thank
very
you,
much
thank
for your
you.
time.
Of course. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your passion and your energy that you are still giving out to everyone.
Now, how
Appreciate
would
you.
we able to see that the podcast?
Okay, well, let me wrap it up real quick. But listeners, be sure to check out Antoine's services and his videos and courses that he has available. The links will be available in the description. Remember, this is not a journey that you have to do alone. We have plenty of resources available, and second languages is where it's at. If you want your children in the ball game for work enforcement, work fields, they need to know another language. That's just where we're headed. That's direction. So
As we say, each language is a person. I wrote a dialogue in Arabic about that. And one said to the other, oh, you mean your dad speaks 5 languages? He said, yes, he has 5 personalities. That's great. And he said to him, great, if my mom hears that, she will become crazy.
yes,
To have 5 personalities. You understand?
indeed.
When you put humor in the dialogue, kids become engaged. It's like when you see a movie. If the first picture you like it, you're going to watch the movie.
Yes,
If you don't like it or you don't know how to read the title, it's not funny, say forget it. I don't want to watch the movie.
yes.
You understand? So really, humor, as we say, You like? Do you eat garlic? Do you like garlic?
Garlic, yes, I do.
You do. I say garlic like a humor. Garlic is really, like in food, the same as
Yes.
humor in conversation. I say humor is the garlic of conversation.
Yes, very much needed. Very much needed. Because you'll lose me quickly if you don't have any humor with it. So
You lose
I
yourself.
agree.
You lose
Yes.
yourself if you don't, without sense of humor.
Yes. And it'll be so boring. Like imagine
It
those
is.
so that don't laugh and oh
If
my
you don't
gosh,
laugh
I
at
don't.
yourself, when I used to go to teach elementary school, they would say to me, Monsieur, today is the day where you do your hair. I said, I have no hair. They laugh and they forget about it. But if you explain with them and argue with them, they will ask you more questions. Just
Yeah.
overcome it. Forget it. Say it. Get with it. Laugh at me and let us move on.
Hey, keep laughing, folks, and homeschool your kids.